Hi guys, and welcome back to why toolboxes are very undermined at how powerful they are in Dead by Daylight. A lot of people think the flashlight, the septic for the instant heal, these are kind of the top tier items you can use, but I'm here to show you why that's incorrect and run you through some quick math. Now before we get into that guys, just a quick hello. I'm Fungoose. I'm a Dead by Daylight streamer here on Twitch, and I've recently just jumped into YouTube in the deep end, and because some people have asked for some of my guides to go on YouTube, so I'm writing this, or making this little video to give you guys a little bit of a guide. Right, so there's a couple of toolboxes you can choose between, and they're all different apart from two. I mean, they're still kind of different. Let's get to it. So you have the worn out toolbox. Now it has 80 charges. It's moderately increased repair speed, which is actually 10%. Now, if you don't know, a generator takes 80 seconds to do. If you're taking away 10% of the generator, you're taking away 8 seconds from the generator. We're then going to move up a tier to the yellow tier. This is 15%, meaning it's going to take away 12 seconds from the generator at bare basic, which will put the generator on 68 seconds. We're then going to move up the food chain again. We're going to move up to the Commodious and the Mechanics toolbox. Now, this is 20%. So you're looking at a 20% increase on efficiency when you're working on a generator. Now, you're cutting off a good 16 seconds away from a generator just for having this toolbox alone. Now, that is incredible. We're going to go up again, so the Mechanics and the Commodious both share that. But do keep in mind, the Commodious has 180 charges, as the Mechanics only has 80 charges. There's a whole additional 100 charges. What are charges? Well, basically, every second you are on a generator, it'll take a set amount of charges. Now, you can you can reduce the set amount of charges it takes by one way, and that is efficiency on the generator. Now, when I say efficiency, I don't mean how good you are. I'm talking about there are two things that can do that. You have access to something called Streetwise. Streetwise allows the consumption rate of items to be reduced by 15%, which is an amazing perk. And then if we move back on to the instructions moderately does it as well. So if you look at Streetwise is fantastic, but Streetwise also stacks with instructions. A lot of people ask me, do these two stack? And the answer is yes, but I'm going to go through a couple of little tricks that you guys may or may not know. But before we do that, let's finish this off. So the engineering box has 80 charges, and it works 25% faster. This is the fastest toolbox in Dead by Daylight. You do have the Alex, but the Alex's toolbox is for moderately doing hooks, not generators. So this is at 25%. Now that is massive, because there's an add-on called the socket swivel, which will give you an additional 5%. So you can essentially get that toolbox up to 30% quicker on a generator. So you're looking at taking away an incredible 24 seconds off the generator just for using a set toolbox. But do keep in mind your charges are very limited. Now, depending on what toolbox you decide to use, you're going to have to keep in mind what are the right add-ons. Now, ignore all my perks right now. I'll walk you through them in a minute and why they're good and how they affect generators. But let's just say I'm taking in a Commodious. The Commodious is classified as the best toolbox in the game, in my personal opinion. It has a massive amount of charges. It has 20% faster doing generators, and it also has the ability to salvo. Now, it doesn't get a benefit from salvoing, but that's okay. Let's go into here. Now, you could add an additional 30 charges, putting it on a whopping 210, but I think that's a bit overkill. At 180 charges, you should be able to do 3 generators. That's a lot. Now, if you chuck on instructions, that's incredible. You're getting it like an additional 10% or 15% reduction of how much consumption rate is being used per second. It also stacks with Streetwise, like I said. So if I didn't have Streetwise on, I would definitely run instructions on this toolbox, because this means it's going to last a hell of a long time. I'm not going to be able to do that much objective that I'm going to use the entire toolbox, because I'm going to have the killer maybe chasing me. I'm going to have teammates to save or heal, or, you're not going to get enough time to use it all. And that's why it's a fantastic toolbox. There's not many items in Dead by Daylight you can use that will last the entire game, but this is by far one of them. Now, the socket swivel will give me an additional 5% working faster on the generator. So this now becomes a 25% faster toolbox, which is insane. Now, this toolbox is just as fast as this toolbox, the engineering box. And you can see it's a rare as opposed to a very rare. The only thing is you can add the socket swivel onto the engineering box. But look at the difference in terms of 80 charges. That's going to last 1 generator. This will last 2, 3 generators. You know, just looking at the sheer difference, would you rather 5% or an additional 100 charges? You're getting over double the charges, so it's a no-brainer in my opinion. Now, if I did want to run a really powerful box that people would really, really enjoy, you'd be looking at something like this. Now, you could chuck on the wire spool. I'm going to do it for an example because I have the Streetwise perk. So realistically, running the wire spool, the socket swivel, and Streetwise pretty much gives me the equivalent of instructions. So now I have 3 add-ons on a toolbox, essentially, because of how efficient it's going to be when it works. This is incredible. Now, I always try and land my grates, and I like to think I'm pretty good at it. But for those of you who do struggle at grates, you can grab this. Always aim for the grate, but just time it probably about 0.2 to 0.5 of a second after you're gonna click. I've noticed that when I go to click, I need to hesitate for that marginal second, and then I generally land most of my grate skill checks. If everyone runs around and lands their grates, you're not gonna have to worry about ruin. I never go looking for ruin, but if it appears in front of me, I will break it. Resilience. Now, a lot of people think no mither or no mither sucks. It doesn't. Now, no mither with resilience will give you an additional 9%. Now, I'm going to round that up to 10%. Alright? So this will give you an additional 8 seconds off a generator just for having this perk. It looks pretty good now, right? So you're just taking the 80-second generator down to 72. Do keep in mind, if multiple people are working on a generator, you do get diminishing returns on the efficiency on the generator. So keep that in mind. But you can also run something called leader. Now, leader gives everyone the equivalent of using a brown toolbox but yourself. I much rather leader over a perk called prove thyself. Prove thyself makes you more efficient in everything you do when you have more teammates around. It goes 3, 6, and 9%. Why would I... at one point in the game, what point will you have all your teammates around you? You shouldn't. If you do, something's gone wrong. The general rule of thumb is you split out and you cover more ground. That way, if a killer comes over, you can keep pressure in multiple different areas. And if he sees you guys on barbecue and chili working on 3 different points, he's not going to be able to camp the guy on the hook for 60 seconds because he's going to lose 3 generators. It does take you 60 seconds to hit struggle and then 60 seconds from struggle to die. This is not taking into effect Monstrous Shrine, which will only work in the basement. So, Spine Chill. Spine Chill is awesome because it has a higher chance of proccing a skill check. Now, skill checks proc based on per consumption rate of the item that you are using, or just by default there is a chance when you're just working on a generator, a self-care, that a skill check will actually proc. So looking at this, if you run Spine Chill on a good box and you're looking at something like making your skill checks bigger, because there is a penalty of 10%, now you have a 20% bigger grate. So it's kind of nulling the bad area because this will shrink the overall, but the grate never actually shrinks. So the marginal bit of the grate will always stay the same size, as opposed to running this will also make your grade skill check larger, which is good. You don't want to land a good, you want to land a great. Great gives you more points, it makes the generator go faster, it counters ruin if you land great skill checks. You know, there's a lot. You should always be aiming for the best. Same in real life, but I'm not here to lecture or talk to you about real life. So we're going to move on real quick, guys. This is by far, in my opinion, the best toolbox you can run. It's not for savoing, it's for repairing generators. And if you do all the generators and you keep that amount of pressure on the killer, he's going to have a hell of a hard time. Now, people, like I said, guys, people think flashlight's hard. People think instant heals are rough. You're right, they are rough. But if you get a player who uses this and has like no mither with this, and now he's working on a generator 25 plus 9, you're looking at 34% faster himself, and then he's landing great skill checks on top of that. The guy's going to chew through the generator in about 50-55 seconds, maybe even less, depending on how many greats he gets, if he gets help. And that means you're not going to have a lot of time to rotate. The time you do 1 lap of the map will be 55 seconds. So if you see anything, you see a guy near a pallet, a guy misses a skill check, you hesitate for 1 second to check a corner of the map, or you think he might be behind a tree, the player using this box will complete a generator. Alright guys, so that's going to be all for my guide on why I think toolboxes are underrated. I will also be doing a guide on flashlights, medkits, and maps and keys. I think keys are really powerful. Even the broken key, because I know a lot of people complain when they get a broken key. So I want to show you guys why it's not as bad as people make it out to be. So guys, if you don't already know, come follow me on Twitch, or come say g'day on Twitch, www.twitch.tv /Fungoose, or you can just click on the link under the description. I do stream DBD 5 days a week, and I'm an educational DBD streamer. If you have any questions about the game at all, I'm happy to answer them, guys. So that's all from me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.